Hi, welcome to the Chad Bozarth Show. Thanks for listening. What's up, man?
Hey, dude, what's up? Are we really doing this?
Yeah, man, thanks for jumping on here with me.
Totally, totally. Glad to be here.
August 2001.
I think that's when this whole friendship thing started once upon a time. What is that? 20 almost 24 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so I was at that school. I started going to that school when I was like 8 years old. And you came in senior.
Like, what was I doing starting a new school my senior year?
And your locker was right next to me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then what was that like, man, going to a new school your senior year?
Uh, that year was it was actually really good. I was very excited about starting a new school, actually. Because our family had just moved back to Texas from Wisconsin, and so that was my senior year. My junior year, I had been homeschooled for a bit of time,
Oh, wow.
and then that was not working. When I remember the moment when my stepmom was trying to teach me physics, and she didn't know it, and I didn't know it, and we both were looking at the textbook and the curriculum or whatever, and we're like, we don't know how to do this, and so my parents ended up putting me into a public school for just for like that spring semester until the summer, and then that's when we moved back to Texas. And so my junior year schooling was weird, and so I was just anxious to have like a normal school environment.
And you got a locker next to me.
I know, man, dude. I still remember the moment of walking up to my locker and like, there's nerves of the first day of school and and then you came over. I think you were wearing that navy sweater. You know the navy sweaters that we had to wear. And
Well, I'm 41 and I still wear that sweater from time to time.
I don't even know where mine is. I'm sure I got rid of it. I'm sure. But dude, that's funny. You still have that same sweater?
Yeah, I'm not joking. I wear it
The
sometimes.
same sweater from high
Yeah.
school. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild.
And yeah, you know what? That was a good year. We had a great basketball team that year. And you were pretty much the star of the basketball team, I would say, or at least one of the stars. Like, I don't know. What would
It
you
it's
were pretty
actually
much the Dirk. You were the Dirk Nowitzki of our team, I would say.
I don't know about that. It was a really fun year, and I'm sure I've told you the story, but it was such a story of redemption for me because ever since I was a kid, you know, I dreamed of being a professional athlete. That's what my hope was. My dad was a college basketball player, and even like my grandmother played basketball, and I think she played in high school and maybe college. And so growing up as a kid, that was just my dream, to maybe play college and long shot, maybe make it to the professional realm or whatever. And so all through elementary, middle school, and then my early high school years, I was really committed to practicing. And but then my ninth and 10th grade years in high school, I just had like really crappy coaches, and I got burnt out on playing, and so I felt like I wasn't given the right opportunity by the coaches, and I was still practicing hard, but just not being given the playing time that I wanted, and so I quit. And in my junior year, I took it off. I didn't play anything. Obviously, like I was saying, my schooling was really weird that year. And so when I first met you and started at LCA, I was when I heard that there was a basketball team, I was like, "Oh, I'm playing 100%. I don't care if we're the worst ever. I'm playing no matter what, because I like really had that itch to get back in the gym and play. But then it just turned out that like we were pretty good,
Yeah.
We had a solid coach, and you know, like we had multiple guys who were good. So that was a fun senior year. And I heard on one of your other you know, I've been listening to all your podcasts to prepare for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And so I heard the reference on the podcast with email about your the last second shot that you
Well, yeah. Well, and then did I tell email there was that one game I was playing so bad and I got the game ball, but you scored like 30 points that game.
yeah, I
Like
had a good game. I remember that game too.
you had a great
I felt
game.
good. I felt really good that game, and I did not get the game ball.
You know, I did. I I got that last shot we were in the second round of the playoffs, right?
Mhm.
And there was like 6 seconds left to go. We were down by three. I got the ball in the corner and I shot the three, and it went in like this is not being melodramatic. Like it went in and came out.
That is true. That is how my memory, you know, remembers it.
You know, it was interesting. I'm glad that I took that shot, and I'm glad it didn't like airball or hit the side of the backboard. But I always felt like I loved basketball, and I played like I gave it my all when I was playing and practicing. But I feel like I didn't love it as much as like you and some of the other guys. Like I remember there was one guy on our team, like he was always looking at the scores and the I don't know, whatever stats are in the newspaper. Back then we were had newspapers, and he was always like looking at that and everything. And it's like I just I don't know, maybe I just didn't understand talking about physics. Maybe that was just like physics to me. Like I got a D minus in undergrad statistics, so
Well,
but
it is
so like
interesting,
I always felt a part of the team, but I I wasn't as into it as maybe you guys were, but it wasn't, I don't know. Like
which, you know, that's probably like the Lord's mercy, man. That you were the one, or the Lord's grace, that you were the one that took that shot and missed it. Like you slept that night, you know?
yeah. I mean, I felt bad. Like I did feel bad that I missed it and I would have wanted to make it, but I agree with you. I think if you would have taken the shot or some other guys, I think you guys would have lost sleep for a while.
This is how I retell that moment in my brain, how I like have come to grips, like how I came to peace with it, is that I tell myself that, oh, dude, you were double teamed, and Chad was wide open, and of course he's gonna get the ball. That's the smart basketball play. I don't think that's true. I don't think I really was double teamed, but that's how I help myself sleep at night. That we were so close.
But like it
You
was
weren't
a
double
good
teamed,
shot.
right? I mean, I
It
wasn't double teamed, right? You had a guy on you.
but I got a free shot off
Yeah,
and
I remember it looked good. It looked good coming
yeah.
out of your hands. Yeah.
It did, and you know, I don't know if you remember this, and I don't know what precipitated it, but coach, I had to come into the gym every morning. I had to make 50 three-pointers every day,
Oh, I do remember that.
like
Yeah.
on top of everything. So yeah, I had to make 53 pointers, not just shoot them, like make them in addition to everything else. And so
Yeah.
I was always trying to figure out, okay, Dad, get me to the gym early, all this stuff. Which I'm glad that I did that. And probably somebody listening now is like, oh, that's nothing. I gotta make 1,000 a day or whatever. So like, I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to, but for me, that was like, oh man, I gotta make these, you know? Um, I'm glad I got that last shot.
Yeah. I'm glad we had that experience because that was like I forget what our record was, but I mean, I think what were we, like 30-2 or something that year? I can't remember. I think we only lost a few games.
Yeah, I think we only lost 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was a defining moment in my life. Now that I'm in my 40s and I'm looking back on it, like that was a cool moment that I tell my kids about, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I mean, you're still playing.
Yeah. Hey man, you know the invitation is
I know.
always open.
I
Yeah.
know.
I'm playing in the mornings, 5:30 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, man. We play.
So the last time I saw you was the last 5 minutes of my birthday dinner.
Oh, okay.
And I don't I don't like birthday parties, but at least once a year I like to have a birthday dinner with close friends. And so You guys were invited, a couple other couples were invited, and Angela and I got there, and basically your wife was there. Which I love your one of the things that I'm thankful for is I feel like the crossover in friends with our spouses is good, so I'm really thankful for that. And so we had a great time talking to Katie.
I was there, but I just couldn't be inside.
So why were you late?
Okay, so this life that I've built, I have lots of different things going on, and one of them is being an Airbnb host, a short-term rental host. And it was one of those stressful moments when our guests were having issues, and it was kind of an emergency moment, and I had to skip the dinner and go deal with our guests and try to fix they were having problems with the lock. I had to change the code on the lock, and it was dumb, and I have a lot of, you know, bad feelings about that, missing your party.
No, that's okay. I totally understood. But so how is that? Because um, how is that kind of being an entrepreneur and um, like you can never really take a vacation, right? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, so this summer we'll have been host for 7 years, which is a long time.
Wow.
I think when I first started being a host, I thought, oh, this is a great way to create passive income and to make a little bit of money and not have to do a lot of work. And it is a lot more work than I thought. It is definitely like a part-time job, sometimes full-time job. It's problem solving all the time
Mm.
of guests booking our house, coming in, checking into the house and finding that there's, something off or something that they're not expect, they weren't expecting, or whatever it might be. And then in that moment I essentially have to drop whatever I'm doing and go solve it for them. um I guess the good part about it's been 7 years is that most of the problems I've gone through before, like the guest who doesn't know how to work the air conditioning unit, kind of thing. That was what I had 2 days ago. I had a guest messaging me at like 8 p.m. at night, as I'm putting my kids to bed. They're messaging me asking how to use the air conditioning. I'm like, yeah, there's arrows. You just push arrows. But I've had obviously we've had parties at the house that's not allowed, and people, making a mess or smoking inside the unit or whatever. And there's been a couple of times where we've had to go in the middle of the night to go kick people out, and that's always um, fun.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so, but yeah, so I'm always on call. If we go on vacation, I have to set it up to have someone else, respond to a guest just in case. Or sometimes I'll just like block off the dates. If I know I'm going to be out of town, I might just block off the dates and be like, hey, I don't want to deal with the house. I need to take like a mental break from it, from the houses. Um, but yeah, and I have people come to me, not fairly often, but every once in a while and say, "Oh, man, I've heard great things about short-term rentals and being on Airbnb, and like tell me everything you know." I'm like, "Bro, don't do it." I mean, maybe. Okay, if it's for you, sure, go for it. But it's a lot more work than I thought it would be when I first started.
That's what I was gonna ask you. I was like, there's like some guy out there and he's talking to his wife and like, he's been watching some real estate show or whatever and he's like, babe, it's
Yeah.
time. Like, what would you say to that guy?
Um, I would well, if I yeah, so it's like talking to my younger self. I would just weigh the pros and cons, because it depends on what like your day job is, right? Depends on like what your W-2 job, it is, and like how much flexibility you have with that. And I mean, financially, it can be good. It's like the equivalent of like if I was waiting tables at night, and if I was like bartending or something like that, it's the same type of income as that. The downside is that there's no like set hours. So if you're a single guy and you have a house that's close to you, or like your neighbor's house, or maybe that is convenient for you to check in on, then yeah, go for it. That's a good little side income. You can have a regular job and be working with your Airbnb or your short-term rental on the side. But for me, like now I got multiple kids and uh just one wife, but one wife and multiple kids and a day job, and my wife is working full time, and so it ends up being a lot, to the point where I'm invited to a birthday dinner and then I have to skip out on the birthday dinner to go solve a problem. And I think the biggest issue with that night, and this is how I mean, I feel so bad. And
Dude, don't feel bad.
I think we
I
should
thought it'd
like
be a good thing to talk
reschedule your
about.
birthday dinner, and try it again, because I mean, obviously we missed out. I feel terrible about it, but
Dude, don't feel bad about it, man.
um,
I just thought it'd
but
be interesting to talk about. Like, it's so crazy how when you get older, you have to like schedule things.
yeah, and schedule it out like in advance, And we had your birthday dinner scheduled for I think a couple of months, or
Yeah.
at least a month and a half, and so yeah, the downside of that is that the properties were about like a 40-minute drive from the restaurant,
Oh man.
and it took me literally like, I don't know, 8 minutes to fix the problem. So it was a 40-minute drive there, 8-minute solution, 8-minute fix, and then back into the car. And I was like dressed up, like I was ready to go, to your birthday dinner. I looked like I was going out, and I'm driving 40 minutes, fix the problem, and then, I don't know, man. That's just life, I guess.
Yeah. No, and
I'm
I
sure
felt
someone's,
bad. Like, I basically left right as you were coming in.
oh, dude,
Like,
yeah.
I, f- when I felt bad about that. So,
No, I mean, you had to go. Your babysitter, your babysitter was ready to leave.
and then someone else that was supposed to be at the dinner, they were like way late because of their babysitter. And so,
No.
yeah, that's weird. Okay, so, um, now you're a teacher. Is that right?
Yep.
How long have you been teaching?
So let's see. I'm in year 13 of teaching.
Wow.
Teach for Dallas ISD. I took a couple of year break there in the middle, but most of my teaching career has been with Dallas ISD. Um, Dallas ISD product. Went to Dallas ISD schools when I was younger. Before meeting you, I went to Dallas ISD schools, and so yeah.
Was there something that clicked for you? Like was there a moment that you decided that you wanted to be a teacher, or was it more of a gradual thing?
Um, well, actually, oh, I don't know if you remember this story. So I'm a social studies teacher, history teacher. Um, for those who are listening, the moment I decided that I wanted to be a teacher was talking to your mom.
Really?
You were there too.
I was.
I don't know if you remember the conversation, but it was we were on a, let's see, I don't remember what year. This might have been, it was one of the times when we were in Poland and Germany, but we were on a train in Poland, and it might have been like 2005 or 2006. I don't remember. No, no, no. I don't remember what year. 2005, 2006. We were on a train in Poland, and I remember your mom asking me, she was like, "So, like, what are you gonna do, like, in your life, like, with your life?" And, she might have worded it a little bit differently, but that's essentially what the question was. And I said, I don't really know. Um, I don't really know what I want to do. And, I told her that, I like history books. I like reading history. I think telling stories is fun, and learning details and whatever about history is interesting. And so I told her that, and she said, well, why don't you become a history teacher? Why don't you pursue that? And at that time in my life, I was single, no kids, and I didn't really know what kind of career I wanted to have. I didn't know if I really wanted to have a career. At that time, I'd been thinking about going into the ministry. And, for you and I, we had talked about maybe doing full-time missions and, for like a long-term full-time missions. And, but I didn't really know, and so, with that conversation, I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to go back to school. And so that's when I went back and got my master's. And, I'd already graduated college by this point. So this was after 2006, then maybe 2007. But yeah, decided to go back to school and pursued my history degree. And so that was kind of in that moment where I thought, oh, okay, I want to be a history teacher, And so once I finished my master's, and then I had a friend who was looking for a friend who was an administrator in a Dallas ISD high school. She was looking for a history teacher, and she asked me to apply, and so I did, and I got the job. And so that's kind of how it worked out. But I mean, I love it. I love being in a social studies classroom, and I love teaching history. It's a challenge, and most days I don't feel like I'm an expert in anything.
Mm.
Most days I feel like I'm trying to learn something new, or I need to learn something new. But no, it's been a fun journey.
Wow. I don't I don't remember that conversation.
Yeah, I don't think I think it was one of those train trips where I was sitting next to your mom, and then I think you were like a few chairs over or a few seats over. And so I don't think you were actually part of the conversation, but you were there with us. But yeah, I think your mom and I were kind of sitting in one chair, sitting in one row, and then you were sitting in a different one.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
That makes me think of I was in class a couple weeks ago and the professor was talking about decision making and just praying about making the right decisions and stuff like that. And he was saying, you only think you know what the big decisions of your life are. It's like you could choose Jack in the Box over Chipotle and get hit by a bus.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's a kind of an extreme example, but it is interesting. Like, you know, what if you wouldn't have had that conversation? Like, would you still be a teacher? Like, probably, but who knows? Like, it's weird the random things that make a significant like trajectory change on our lives. I don't know.
Yeah, it is really wild because sometimes I think about it from like your mom's perspective in that moment.
Mm.
Your mom is on a train sitting next to her son's friend, which maybe is a potentially socially awkward situation of like, what do you talk about? Or do you just sit there in silence? You know what I mean? And I could just imagine her like, okay, so like, hey, what are you doing in life? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. What's your plan? Just like trying to start up a conversation with me. And and then that turned into a really like pivotal moment for me of thinking, yeah, what am I doing? Like I need
Mm.
to make a decision here about what direction I'm going in, and and then the rest is history. And now, like, I've been teaching for a number of years, and I love it. I enjoy it. It's I do feel like I've found like my passion in life, which is cool. Um, I wish my passion would pay a little bit more. No,
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm joking. It's fine. But like, I feel like I've found the thing that I'm like good, that I'm good at, and that I enjoy, the end of the school day. I might have been teaching all day, and I don't feel emotionally drained of like, oh, I'm powering through doing this career that I absolutely dread. I look forward to it most days. And so it's cool that that's how it played out, and that your mom was actually a big reason why that happened for me.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'll go ask her about that.
I wonder if she remembers.
I'll ask her as soon as we get off this call.
Okay.
I was-
Bring her in, come on. No,
I'm at her house right now. She's back watching the baby right now.
okay, okay.
Um, well, so you've been a teacher for 13 years. What do you think? You sent me that article on AI. and you kind of got me, you started sending me stuff on AI, and then I got interested in it. And I mean, kind of like we were talking about physics, like I don't really know anything about it except for I'm like whatever below a novice is, but I'm trying to learn. Anyway, all that to say, you've been a teacher for 13 years. What effect do you think are you starting to see the effect in people's papers or what? I know there's a million opinions, but what do you think education looks like even 5 years from now? Are we going to have to go back to handwriting papers in class? Like I can't even really comprehend what kind of world we're moving into.
Hmm. Yeah, man. And that's why I send you stuff so often because I like getting your insight or your opinion on the changing world around us. But yeah, from the teacher's perspective, like AI is completely disrupting everything.
Hmm.
You know, big picture, a teacher is supposed to know a little bit more than the student and be able to break down the concepts into simpler concepts and be able to explain it to the student, to the child, right? And but the problem that our education system has found itself is that we are essentially like a factory that's making these students, right? And
Hmm.
especially working in a big district like I work in, man, these kids just file in. They are just numbers, and they got their student
Hmm.
ID number, and they come into the room, and they know to sit down and shut up and listen to the adult talk, and you know um and then the bell rings or whatever, and then the class is over and they go. And that's not, I don't think, naturally we as humanity, that's not how you teach someone. Anyways, so our our public education system is really built on how things were after World War II, the 1950s, of like you have so many more children and so many more teenagers and they need to be in school, and so let's pack them into rooms, 28 to 30 students, and the teacher is like a strict disciplinarian and will hit them on the back of the hand if with a rod or whatever if they get out of line, and the students are sitting there quietly taking notes. Anyways, okay, so that's our system that we have. But then you enter, you know, artificial intelligence, and now all the answers, if I assign an essay to a student, they literally can get the essay completed in 30 seconds. And it's this post-COVID world plus AI in combination is creating this environment where we have to, it's completely disrupting our education system. Like, I think in the next years, 5 years, 10 years, or even the next 2 or 3 years, like everything is going to be flipped upside down. Uh,
Wow.
I'll give you some real examples. So like my position, so I teach high school aged students at the local community college. It's kind of a weird spot. Like not a lot of teachers have a spot like this, so I'm really like lucky and blessed. But high school students are bused to me at the college, right? And so they come to my class, and um, and then I teach them like a regular college class, but they're high school age students. So like in the years past, assignments that I would give to them, I might have quizzes or exams, paper-based exams in class. I'd give them essays where they would have to write on paper and pencil. But then I had to change all that because of COVID. So I changed when I was teaching throughout the COVID years. I have to put everything online. All my lessons, I created videos and my PowerPoints, and all my assignments are online to make it so that way students could complete it at home or outside the classroom. Well, now we are adding AI to this, and so now it's to a point where students are easily able to complete all my assignments in one day. They can get the entire semester done in one day. And from the community college side, the administrators and other instructors are really scrambling. I would say that they are creating all kinds of PD trainings and things like that for us instructors to go through to be able to spot AI written essays. I mean, think about all the English classes that are out there. the community college English 1301 and 1302 that require students to be writing, and they're just using, AI. So
Wow.
I feel like I'm rambling now, but
No, it's like
it's really
it's
wild.
like a situation that induces rambling, like you don't know what to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Okay, so real examples. So like in the fall, this past fall, I had some students that were coming to me face to face, and then I had other students that were taking my online class. And on my online class, I had discussion boards, just like any other community college or any other high school class might have. And I noticed as I was grading the discussion boards that students were just using AI. These were like opinion-based questions. Like,
hmm.
hey, uh, who's your favorite president? Kind of question, right? And it's just, they're just going to AI and they're just copying that and inputting that. And so I was thinking, okay, how can I as an instructor guard against that? And so one of the things I changed up is that this semester I'm still doing discussion boards, but instead of students typing their answer, they have to record themselves reading the answer.
Hmm.
That's not 100% foolproof, but I'm just trying to evolve as a teacher. I figure that if they're recording a video, at least they have to practice reading in front of all of us, or they have to, at least kind of know what they're talking about as they're reading it, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what a good answer is. I don't know if it's better to just completely embrace, AI and be like, all right, hey, use AI to research this topic or something, or if we try to completely ignore it and say, all right, paper and pencil only. Cell phones and laptops, throw them in the trash, you don't need them. I don't know, what the solution is.
I don't either. It's it's wild. But
uh,
I get it is kind of one of those things where um I hated that phrase during the pandemic, we're all in this together, but it's kind of like that though. We're all in this together. It's not like there's like one or two like everybody is, even the experts don't know.
yeah, yeah.
So, I guess there's some comfort in that. It's like I don't know. Like in my mind, I've never been scared of an asteroid like destroying Earth because then it's like we're all in it together. But like something more localized is more scary. I don't know. That's a crazy example, but
Well, and I saw this on X or Twitter recently, and I forget who said it. And if you know who said this, then you can tell me. But I forget who it was. But they said that in the future, the types of jobs that are going to be in demand are like the arts, like liberal arts jobs,
yeah,
because the math and science jobs, AI will be able to complete a lot of that. And but those who can actually write a human poem, or write a short story written by a human, we'll see things on sale that are like AI created or human created,
yeah,
where people are going to pay a premium price for something that's actually handmade by like a real human. It's going to be like that.
or like live theater, or
Hmm.
I'm moving through it slowly, but I got this book called 2084, and it's written by John Lennox, and he is this like I think he's British mathematician.
Hmm.
Um, and he's a Christian, and so he's like he kind of reminds me of C.S. Lewis maybe a little bit, but he's got this book where he's like taking AI from like a philosophical standpoint and going through it. And anyway, it's I'm moving through it very slowly, but I'm real interested in some of his conclusions. And anyway, it's called 2084. Before we wrap up, you are obviously like we've been friends. You're like my best friend. We've been friends for so long. But really, you are such an interesting person. Like you are so I hate to use like when I look at you, you just seem to be so successful.
We're both laughing because that's a huge
No,
lie.
I don't mean seem as if and you're not
That
and
is
you're just portraying it. I don't mean it like that.
misconception.
No, I don't mean like that, but just like, you're a good father and husband and an entrepreneur and a teacher impacting this generation and everything. And so I guess I like to end these things with like a word of encouragement. You and I are both like midlife now, I guess. Um, I feel like this phase is interesting because I, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what my 40s are supposed to be about. Because it's like it's almost I don't know if it's like being a teenager because you have all of this experience to where you can't like have the same excuses that you did when you were in your 20s and be like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm in my 20s, you know.
Mhm.
But also you're still young enough to I'm rambling.
It is, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm rambling. Like, please interrupt me.
Would you like to
I'm
continue
trying to
rambling?
find a question. There's a question in the ramblings.
So I'll just
But
continue rambling into my own rambling. No, it is really an interesting this season of life, being in your, late 30s, early 40s, because you feel more secure about yourself to a certain degree, right? You probably are a little bit more financially stable, you have maybe a career that you've chosen, but you still feel young, right? Like I still feel like I am 25 and like the
exactly.
world is my oyster kind of idea of like, man, I could whatever I want to do, I could set my mind to it and try it. If I want to, travel around the world, I can dream it. I don't think it's actually going to
Yeah.
happen, but I can take a few moments and think about it as I'm driving home from work or whatever, you know, and so being, we both turned, well, you turned 41 recently, but I'm 40 last year. I'm turning 41 later this year. I do feel still young, but I also am like realizing, oh, this is like middle aged, right? Like I got older parents who are, declining in health. We've talked about that, declining in health, and then I have these little beings that are living in my house that are looking at me all the time. My children, and they're watching me all the time and seeing what is dad doing. Um, and then being married, and so it is a different season of life. It's way different than how it was when I was in my 20s still single, or in my early 30s when I was just getting married and all of that. Now, uh, but I think, to your non-question, you didn't really ask a question, but um, you know, uh, I think we're all just trying to make it, right? Like we're all just faking it until we something happens. Um, and we're all just pretending that things are okay, and um, we do the next best thing, right? Was that what'd you tell me that one time that the
Well, talking about my
oh,
mom, I stole that from my mom and she stole it from
okay.
someone else, I think. Just like when you
What was
don't
that
know what to
line?
do,
Hmm.
and I think Oprah even maybe said it at some point, but like do the next thing.
Yeah.
'Cause
When
like
you
you'll
don't
get
know what to do the
overwhelmed.
next thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like sometimes you don't know the big picture, but just do the next thing that you know to do, and
Hmm.
then things will unfold. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. Um, and I think you're so right. I think if a lot of people were honest, they're figuring things out, and because it's fluid, right? Like kind of even being a parent is like you think you have it figured out on Monday, and then something shifts, and by Thursday it's like, oh, this has gone in a new direction, and so yeah, everything's done anyway. It's good. You know, I think we could talk forever. We're gonna have to do many of these
I know. Are,
because
are you shutting this thing down? Are we done? Is this when you break up with me over the podcast? Or on the podcast?
yeah,
My question
yeah.
is, who is going to listen to this? No, I'm joking.
Somebody, well, our
Somebody.
wives, at
Hmm.
least our wives for sure will listen to this.
Hey, I've been watching your podcast though. The viewer numbers are going up though.
Yeah.
Hey, there's people
He-
listening, man.
Hey, it's
There's
like a
like dozens,
plant.
dozens of you. No, I'm
There are dozens. It's a plant, and I'm just, actually, on that note, as we wrap up, I was just telling my mom this because I love creating stuff. It's like I wrote that kids book, and I thought if I magically produced it, then it would magically sell. And if you
kidding.
saw the boxes in my garage, you would realize that that magic has not taken place.
Great book though. Great book.
Thank you.
We
Yes.
do still read it during bedtime at time, from time to time.
Thank
Great
you.
book. Excellent book.
Thank you. Yes.
You should buy
Um,
it. Somebody, if you're listening, you should buy it. Buy the book.
yes, please, please do. Yes, I got to get rid of some of these boxes. But but I'm excited about this project because it's like I feel like I so enjoy the process that I think it'll just grow slowly, and the just doing it makes me so happy and helps me in every other area of things that I'm doing just because I'm so happy just talking to my friends and learning from them. And so it's like, yes, that's what I would say. I think maybe to wrap this up is if somebody's watching this, like just start. Like there's so many excuses not to start something, and
Mhm.
just start and just redirect as you go. And worst case scenario, use everything as a learning experience. So I don't know. We
Oh, yeah. I'm pumped, man. I mean, I wouldn't waste my time if it was a crappy podcast. Let me No, I've listened to all the episodes and like they're good. They're good. So I'm excited to be a part of it and be on at least one. You'll have to invite me back for another one
Oh, you can guarantee it. But yeah,
because we could
100%.
carry this conversation further. There's even more things
No,
that we
there's so
can
many
talk
things. There's so many things, and we will, yes, you will be a recurring guest star on
about.
this podcast.
I need like a full intro.
Yeah, you can, well, yeah, it's like, yeah, anyway, I'll stop right now. Dude, thanks for joining me on this, man.
Hey, anytime, man. Anytime. I'm
Uh,
here for you.
uh, we'll do it soon.
Okay.
Bye.